Right, that's very kind. Stephen Kinnock.
Thank you very much, Chair. Hello, Secretary of State. Just wanted to go on to the issue of EU agencies. Yeah. So the question really is, how is it that, the Prime Minister said in her speech on Friday that she wants the UK to continue to benefit from membership of the EU agencies. How is that possible if we will not be under the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice?
Yes, what she said was that we will explore the possibility. I think the one she mentioned was the European Aviation Safety Agency, European Chemicals Agency, and the European Medical Agency. I think were the three that were mentioned. There are others actually in a different context. Actually more difficult ones in the context of Justice Home Affairs, but let me deal with the economic ones first. The European Aviation Safety Agency is an interesting one because we have a precedent of an association agreement with the Swiss having an association agreement with that agency. And as she mentioned, I think in the speech, what that allows to happen is that aircraft certification in Switzerland can be done by the Swiss authority and therefore arbitrated under Swiss law and under Swiss courts, which has almost the opposite effect of what you described. It actually surprised me when we first looked at it. So it may well be that this actually has the effect of having ECJ ruling within the organisation perfectly properly. It's a European organisation when it is, but allowing us to actually have parallel arrangements which take us back to our own courts. That was the thought process. The word she used, I think you'll find if you look, is we will explore this. We haven't committed, but we'll explore this as a way of providing. To take up Mr. Jones's point, actually providing a degree of confidence and security for the organisations concerned.
In terms of just exploring the issue, is there really going to be time to get clarity on that before we have the meaningful vote in October? Presumably all of this will be in the political declaration on the future relationship and indeed part of the overall withdrawal agreement. Do you really think all of this very complex
yes, I do.
stuff
yes,
is
I do.
going to be done in time?
Partly, there are two elements to this. Firstly, can I put to one side the agencies for a second? The main agreement will be relatively simple because it's universal in terms of being tariff-free. The issue, therefore, will be, in a sense, freestanding for a number of areas. Aviation's one of them. Data may be another. There's a whole series of parallels, which we will negotiate in parallel. Our intention is to negotiate these things in parallel. And we intend to conclude the substantive negotiation, not the ratification, because that will take longer, but the substantive notification at much the same time as we conclude the withdrawal agreement, so later this year. As you say, October's the target, thereabouts anyway.
One of the big challenges, of course, is some of the agencies, such as the European Medicines Agency, has no provision whatsoever for third country participation. So you would have to rewrite the founding statutes. I think there are 50 EU agencies, about 25 of them have no provision whatsoever for third country participation. Are we going to have time to rewrite those statutes or get agreement before October?
The material ones, yes, because we'll look to the sort of parallel arrangements in things like EASA. We may or may not be able to do it. That's why we're exploring it. I think the likelihood is very high that we would. Take the European Medicines Agency. I think we do about 40% of the approvals under the European Medicines Agency, something of that order. Is it 30 or 40, something of that order? So we're well equipped technically. You're quite right, the issue will be legal. And, to be honest, the central issue will be whether the union itself wants to negotiate these matters. If it wants to negotiate them, Karel de Gucht, a little while ago, the previous, he's an erstwhile competition commissioner, I think, trade commissioner from the union, not a great fan of Brexit, said if the political will is there, then this is technically achievable. It's a question of whether the will is there. The will is there with us. The question is whether it's the other side. We'll know shortly. We'll know after March 23rd.
Thank you.
Philippa.